Most people never change, not because they lack ambition, not because life was unkind to them, but because they never decided to own the first hour of their day. That single decision, what you do before the world demands anything from you, quietly determines everything else. Your clarity, your discipline, your ability to remain steady when pressure arrives uninvited. Today we are going to walk through 7 morning habits that the Stoics practiced, refined, and passed down not as rituals of comfort, but as tools of construction. These are not trendy routines borrowed from productivity culture. They are ancient disciplines that have survived centuries because they work. And when you commit to even one of them with full intention, the person looking back at you in the mirror 6 months from now will carry a different posture, a quieter confidence, an unshakable foundation that most people around you will never understand because they never built it. Stay until the end. The 7th habit is the one most people overlook entirely, and it may be the most important of all. Before we begin, understand this. The Stoics did not separate the morning from the philosophy. Marcus Aurelius did not wake and simply begin the day. He prepared. He reminded himself of what the day would demand. He set the standard before a single external event could lower it. Epictetus, who began his life in chains and ended it as one of the most respected minds of the ancient world, understood that freedom was not given by circumstances. It was constructed from within, decision by decision, morning by morning. That is what we are building here. The first habit is waking before the world asks anything of you. There is something that happens in the early hours that cannot be replicated later in the day. The silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of clarity. When you rise before obligation calls, before notifications demand your attention, before other people's urgency becomes your own, you reclaim ownership of your mind. You begin the day as the author, not the respondent. The Stoics called this the first act of discipline, not the hardest thing you will do, but the first. And the first act sets the tone for everything that follows. When you prove to yourself in the very first moment of the day that you are capable of choosing discomfort over ease, you carry that proof with you. Your nervous system remembers. Your standards quietly shift. You do not need to wake at an extreme hour to benefit from this. What matters is that you wake with intention, that the first conscious decision of your day belongs entirely to you. The second habit is silence before stimulation. Most people wake and immediately reach for their devices. Before their eyes have fully adjusted to light, they are already consuming news, messages, content that belongs to someone else's world. And in doing so, they hand the first and most valuable moments of their mind to external noise. The Stoic morning began in stillness, not because stillness is passive, but because it is where clarity lives. When you allow your mind to surface naturally, without immediately flooding it with external information, something important happens. Your own thoughts arrive. Your priorities emerge without competition. You hear yourself. Try this. Before you look at any screen, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Do nothing. Allow your mind to settle like water after a storm. What surfaces in those minutes is almost always more important than anything waiting in your notifications. This practice, sustained over weeks, begins to rebuild your relationship with your own thinking. You become less reactive, less distracted, more rooted. The third habit is journaling with honest precision. Seneca wrote letters to himself. Marcus Aurelius kept a private record not of victories but of reminders, observations, corrections. The meditations which have guided minds across centuries were never intended for anyone else. They were a man holding himself accountable on paper, day after day, with unflinching honesty. Journaling is not writing about your feelings. It is not recording events. It is a discipline of clarity. When you write, you are forced to organize the noise inside your mind into structured thought. Confusion that felt enormous becomes manageable when it is placed on a page. Patterns you had been avoiding become visible. The behavior you keep repeating, the fear you keep rationalizing, the decision you keep postponing, all of it surfaces when you write with the intention of seeing clearly. Write 3 things every morning. What you intend to do today and why it matters. What you are currently avoiding and what it is costing you. And one honest observation about where your behavior has drifted from your own standards. Do this every single day. Within 30 days, you will know yourself more accurately than most people know themselves after a lifetime. If this is resonating with you, take a moment right now to subscribe to Stoic Thoughts. This channel exists for one reason: to help you build the kind of inner discipline that changes how you move through the world. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss what we build here together. The 4th habit is deliberate physical effort. The Stoics were not passive philosophers. They trained. They understood that the body and the mind are not separate systems. They are one. When you subject your body to voluntary difficulty in the morning, you are training your nervous system to respond to discomfort with composure rather than retreat. This does not require a gym or elaborate equipment. It requires willingness. 20 minutes of intense effort, whether running, calisthenics, or weightlifting, sends a signal to every system in your body that today will be approached with intention. Your cortisol regulates, your focus sharpens, your emotional stability deepens, and perhaps most importantly, you have already done something hard before the day has presented a single challenge. That changes how you carry yourself. The person who has already overcome resistance at 6 in the morning faces the rest of the day with a different kind of confidence. Not the loud confidence of performance, the quiet confidence of someone who has already proven something to themselves before breakfast. The 5th habit is reading 1 page of philosophy with full attention, not scrolling, not skimming. 1 page, read slowly, with the intention of extracting something useful. The Stoics treated wisdom not as information to collect, but as preparation for life. When Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that other people would be difficult, inconsiderate, and short-sighted, he was not complaining. He was preparing. He was reading the nature of the world clearly, so that when it arrived he would not be surprised or destabilized. 1 page of meditations, 1 passage from Epictetus, 1 letter from Seneca. Read it as if it were written specifically for whatever you are currently facing, because in most cases it was. These men faced loss, betrayal, pressure, uncertainty, and the temptation to compromise their standards. Everything they wrote was a response to the same human experience you are navigating right now. Their conclusions were earned through difficulty. Borrowing their wisdom costs you only attention. If this video is adding something real to your thinking, leave a like right now. It takes 1 second, and it helps this message reach the people who need it most. The 6th habit is reviewing your single most important intention for the day. Not your task list, not your schedule. 1 intention. The one thing that, if done with full presence and effort, would make today meaningful regardless of whatever else occurs or fails to occur. Marcus Aurelius began each day by asking himself what work aligned with human purpose. Not what was urgent, not what was expected. What was purposeful? There is a significant difference between being busy and being directed. Most people fill their days with activity and arrive at evening feeling empty because none of that activity was connected to anything they genuinely valued. Write your single most important intention before the day begins. Speak it out loud if necessary. Carry it as an anchor through every hour. When the day tries to pull you into reaction, into distraction, into other people's priorities, return to that single intention. Protect it with the same discipline you would protect anything else that matters to you. The 7th habit, the one most people skip, is a brief moment of voluntary discomfort. not as punishment, not as performance, but as training. The Stoics practiced what they called negative visualization and voluntary hardship. Seneca would occasionally go without comfort intentionally, not to suffer, but to prove to himself that he could, to demonstrate, through direct experience, that comfort was not a requirement for his stability. You do not need to go to extremes. But every morning do one small thing that your comfort instinct resists. Take a cold shower. Skip the thing you use as a daily reward before you have earned it. Sit with an uncomfortable thought without immediately seeking distraction. The action itself is less important than what it trains, because what you are training is the gap between impulse and response. You are building the ability to feel the pull of comfort and choose discipline anyway. And that ability, that specific gap, is where character lives. Every person who has ever built something worth having lived in that gap. They felt the same resistance you feel. They simply refused to let it decide. Now here is what ties all 7 together. These habits are not valuable individually. They are valuable as a system. Because what you are doing every morning when you practice even a few of them is establishing a relationship with yourself built on consistency rather than intention. Most people have excellent intentions. The 1% have consistent behavior. And consistent behavior, compounded over months, produces a version of yourself that looks unrecognizable to the person you were when you began. Choose the habits that feel most relevant to where you are right now. Commit to them for 30 days without measuring results. Simply show up. The Stoics understood that discipline precedes transformation, not the other way around. You do not wait until you feel ready to begin. You begin and readiness follows. Share this video with someone who is serious about building a better version of themselves. Not someone looking for motivation. Motivation fades. Someone looking for method. Someone who understands that the work done in private, before the world is watching, is the only work that truly shapes who you become. Subscribe to Stoic Thoughts if you have not already. Leave a comment below telling me which of these 7 habits you are committing to starting tomorrow morning. Your answer might be exactly what someone else needed to read to make their own decision. The morning is not just the beginning of the day. It is the beginning of who you are choosing to become. Use it accordingly.